we're going to rank the Ant-Man film fights. Again, these are specifically for the films, the Ant-Man films, and not any of the MCU films. So, and this one can consist of, Ant-Man, Wasp, long as it's within the context of those films. So, ranking, really, I'll only count pretty much 6 fights, like actual fights, not including like henchmen or anything, but just typically fights between like the bad guys. So let's go ahead now. Coming in, there are 6 fights. The number 6 would be the Wasp versus Ghost fight in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Again, I really like seeing these two females duke it out, utilizing their powers. I just wish it could have been a little bit longer, and I wish that Scott could have got in on the action because he makes one little thing in it, but it doesn't really have like an actual like 2-on-1 fight, which would have made it even better. Coming in at number 5, the next fight would be Ant-Man versus Falcon. Again, I thought it was really cool. These two characters utilizing their abilities and the technologies that they have to go at it. And like I said, Falcon doesn't really get fights like that. So it was actually pretty cool seeing him do that. Next up, coming in at number 4, Ant-Man versus Yellow Jacket briefcase fight. Really cool. Just visually, the spectacle of it, just this world that's within this miniature world within the briefcase, just the way it was just stylized, directed, and edited, just made for a very cool and unique experience in terms of fight sequences. And like I said, outside of Ant-Man, you don't really get fight sequences like that. Coming in at number 3, the Ant-Man family, the Langs, I guess, versus Kang, the Conqueror, Ant-Man, and the Wasp, Quantumania. Now, I like this because not only, and again, I like seeing superpowered people fight superpowered people, and it was cool because you get to see how the Langs, Cassie, Scott, and Hope end up utilizing the combat and the technology to take on Kang. The Kang character shows how advanced his technology is able to thwart them, not only through just his technology and how advanced it is, but actually his combat. So we get to see them, all 3 of them, jumping him, and he's just holding his own and actually beating them. They're shrinking, trying to fight him. He's able to stick with them. They're expanding, trying to fight him. He's able to stick with them, and it's just a really cool exchange. A little too brief. I wish it would have came out, continue on for maybe two more minutes. It was actually pretty cool and one of the best moments in the 3rd film. Coming in number 2 is the Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket toy fight. Again, just the scope of it, just the stakes that were involved, just overall the escalation of it throughout the film, and what ultimately the final battle is, and just again how fun it was, and just like the interesting idea of the toys setting as the battleground. And again, I got to reference that Thomas the Tank Engine scene was just completely hilarious. It's just ultimately a very fun fight. And coming in at number 1, the best fight would be the Ant-Man versus Kang, the Conqueror fight, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Now, I know I had said that the Langs ended up fighting Kang, but there is a scene after they pretty much almost win the day and everything. There is pretty much a hand-to-hand fight between Ant-Man and Kang. And this is one of the most brutal, if not the most brutal fights in the entire MCU. Kang is literally just whooping Scott's butt. He is just owning this dude. He's beating him down. It's the fight where it was so cool that even when you watch the fight, you can actually feel the impact of his blows. Because Kang is not only a master of technology, he was extremely intelligent. The man knows how to throw down, and he does not hold back when he's fighting Scott. And yes, Scott does manage to get some blows in here or there, but ultimately he would have lost had not Wasp came in and helped him. But it was honestly a brutal fight. It was definitely one of the most brutal fights that I've seen in the MCU, and definitely in the and then what makes it special is they weren't using their powers. It was literally just hand to hand combat. That fight is what makes it so unique. Which makes it number one compared to the rest of the fights is it was just these two characters who didn't use technology. It was just them duking it out, and it was really badass. So, ranking the Ant-Man films, the Ant-Man film fights, it would be Wasp versus Ghost is number 6. Which I'm not saying they're best to worst or anything like that, because I like all the fights, but just in terms of getting the entertainment value and just a depth to the story and all of that. So coming in number 6, Wasp versus Ghost. 5, Ant-Man versus Falcon. 4, Ant-Man versus Yellow Jacket, the briefcase fight. 3, Ant-Man family versus Kang the Conqueror. 2, Ant-Man versus Yellow Jacket toy fight. And number 1, Ant-Man versus Kang the Conqueror. So in your ratings, guys, let me know what did you rate the Ant-Man film fights? Yes, there is I guess you could say the Cassie versus MODOK, but I didn't like MODOK that much. I didn't even want to talk about it. And kind of Cassie too. So anyway, just let me know how you would rank them, and what would you rank as your best fight. Or if you want to do the best to worst fights, I guess you could say the MODOK fight with Cassie was the worst, but I don't really consider it a fight because she pretty much ran the entire freaking time. So we can go with that like that.